I think I've watched this clip of Presidents Biden and his former boss, President Barack Obama, possibly, 20 times. Seeing these two cool cats smoothly striding off Air Force One like no big deal. In pelting rain, by the way. Presidents who command respect because they offer respect to others. Both super fit, and it just made me feel really proud as an American to see this amazing image of two icons of American democracy and global leadership. Of course, they were on their way to meet former President Bill Clinton in New York City for a huge fundraising event that pulled in a record $26 million in one night for the Biden campaign. Here is some sound of President Obama bragging on President Biden on stage with the host, Stephen Colbert.
Capping insulin drug prices, capping the price of insulin at $35, where it used to cost them up to $400. Helping young people go to college. The record-setting investment in clean energy that's going to transition us to the kind of future that our children and grandchildren deserve. So, and we could obviously go on. The point is, am I at 5 minutes yet?
You have 30 seconds. You're sounding good.
The President of the United States says I can go longer.
Well, these three presidents gathered together in a show of unity and solidarity for democracy, and behind President Biden, we have the disgruntled orange former White House employee pimping Bibles to raise money for his flailing campaign during Holy Week. You know, the week that's supposed to be centered on Jesus. Of course, Donald Trump centers it on himself, further isolating himself from others, conservatives, and especially those who worked most closely with Donald Trump. They have by and large said they want nothing to do with supporting Trump's 2024 presidential bid. Here is some sound from Trump's former defense secretary, Mark Esper.
With me now is Mark Esper, who served as defense secretary under Donald Trump. Mr. Secretary, thank you very much for being with us. And we have a number of critical foreign policy, national security issues to discuss. But since today is January 6th, 3 years after the attack on the Capitol, I'm just curious, Mr. Secretary, do you view Donald Trump as a threat to American democracy?
Well, first of all, good to be with you, Jim. It is a tragic day in our nation's history. And yes, I do regard him as a threat to democracy. Democracy as we know it, our institutions, our political culture, all those things that make America great and have defined us as, the oldest democracy on this planet.
Esper belongs to a growing list of former Trump administration officials and cabinet members who are not endorsing him. For President George Bush wants nothing to do with Trump. And I've heard a lot of jokes about how former President Bush wants to stay as far away from Donald Trump as he possibly can. Once adoring chief sycophant Mike Pence finally came out and said he was not going to endorse his former boss. Big time Trump toady and former Attorney General Bill Barr is not endorsing him. And that really says something, because Bill Barr was, I wouldn't consider him a bastion of the justice system. Former Chief of Staff General John Kelly, National Security Advisors John Bolton and General H.R. McMaster have all said they will not stand behind Donald Trump's presidential bid this time. Now, while former presidents have President Biden's back, Trump stands alone, increasingly erratic and dangerous in his behavior, weirdly going on about sticky pages in his expensive Bible. By the way, you can get the Bible for free as an app on your phone. Pages are probably sticking because Donald Trump has never opened a Bible in his life. And this disturbing find, one of the MeidasTouch writers spotted Trump posting a video on True Social that highlighted pickup truck tailgates decorated with, or really I should say violated with, an image of President Biden bound, just despicable. And in my opinion, these horrific and violent images should be plastered on every news headline in America so that every American knows exactly who we are dealing with in Donald Trump. Longtime federal prosecutor Andrew Weissman tweeted this out regarding these images, quote, Trump is out on bail in 4 criminal cases. He posted a photo of the president bound. Threatening a president is a federal crime and also a violation of bail release conditions. Time for courts to act. Well, we've been waiting for the courts to actually act Ruth Ben-Ghiat, who is an expert in authoritarianism, posted this, quote, "Wake up, people. This is an emergency. This is what authoritarian thugs and terrorists do. Trump is targeting the president of the United States." I know that these images are hard for we sane people to look at. They're incredibly disturbing, but we are literally standing at a crossroads in America. Do we want a violent fascist dictator who has no care for anyone other than himself and will attack and take down anyone who gets in his way, including judges, their families, and the sitting United States president? My God, we've already had a near fatal attack on Nancy Pelosi's husband, and a Trump supporter in Texas was recently arrested for making threats against federal judge Tanya Chutkan's life. And those are just a couple of the cases from these right-wing MAGA extremists that Donald Trump spends time ginning up and stoking up. Or do we want the solidarity, the positivity, and the joyful vibes of real leaders who want to help Americans live better, healthier lives in a free society where the working class gets a fair shot and women's rights are valued?
Donald Trump, as far as we can tell, has just been trying to win a third championship at his own golf course. My question to you, sir, can voters trust a presidential candidate who has not won a single Trump International Golf Club trophy? At long last, sir, have you no chip shot?
Well, look, I'd be happy to play. I told him this before when he came into the Oval, before he got sworn in. I said, I'll give you 3 strokes if you carry your own bag. We're at a real inflection point in history. Things are changing. This guy denies there's a global warming. This guy wants to get rid of not only Roe v. Wade, but which he brags about having done. He wants to get rid of the ability of anyone anywhere in America to ever choose. I mean, all the things he's doing are so old. Speaking of old. And, a little old and out of shape. But anyway.
Look, I've said it before, but this shouldn't be a difficult choice. I am baffled by these remaining swing voters who can't quite seem to make up their mind. I mean, you couldn't get 2 starker contrasts. One man is a dangerous madman. The other is a man who has proven that he can carry America forward and not backwards into a dark and dangerous past. My name is Suri Crowe, and you're watching the MeidasTouch Network. Thank you so much for joining me here today. Please share, like, and comment on this video and spread the message of pro-democracy far and wide. I am confident that with all of us gathering together under the big tent of democracy and freedom, that we will pull it off in November, but it's going to take all of us. So I thank you so much for watching and again, sharing the message. I hope to see you back here very soon, and I wish you peace.
It's Ken Harbaugh with the MeidasTouch Network. The film Against All Enemies, which I co-produced with Ben Meiselas and this network, has won awards around the world for its up-close portrayal of America's insurrectionist movement. It premieres in the U.S. on March 29th on Amazon and Apple TV. Go to againstallenemiesfilm.com or click the link below. But don't just watch Against All Enemies. Tell your friends about it. It's one more way to hold accountable those who threaten our democracy. Thanks, Meidas Mighty. Let's use our power well.